Yeah.
Sweet.
Ready? Awesome. Let's make some ramen, a Japanese noodle soup that's loved all over the world. Today's version is kid-friendly, healthy, and easy to make at home. Karina is here to help me build our broth and garlic and ginger and mushrooms. Then we'll add spinach, carrots, and soft-boiled eggs, just like in a restaurant. Ramen is a perfect meal during March, when the weather is still cool and we're waiting for spring to fully bloom. Let's get cooking. So Karina, what is your favorite thing to do in the spring?
I just love like hiking and hanging out with my family.
Awesome. I like hiking too, especially in the spring when it's not raining. Around here it rains quite a bit in the spring, but on those nice days it's good to get outside. So the first thing we're gonna do for our ramen, so we have most of our ingredients prepped here, but we're gonna start by, getting our ginger and our garlic cooking. So I'm gonna have you grate a little bit of ginger. So I'll have you hold this like this and then just kind of grate it on the side there while I put some olive oil in our pan and get that heating. So have you ever had ramen before?
I actually just made it with my family.
Oh, great. Now ramen is kind of a staple in a lot of college kids' dorms, but this is gonna be a fancier version than the one that you'll see there. Yep, that looks pretty good. I'll have you grate a little bit more. So we're gonna start by cooking up some ginger and garlic. So I have some pre-minced garlic, and I'm just gonna take a scoop of this while you have that going and put this in our pan to get cooking. And if you don't have pre-minced, you'll wanna take about 4 cloves of garlic and mince those up at home. I'll just start. I think we've got enough on the inside there. So we'll take the fresh ginger and we'll just kind of scoop it with our spoon. And this is about a tablespoon of fresh ginger here. And do you want to pour that in the pan for me? Just be careful because it's pretty hot. Yep, and we'll put that aside. And then we just want to take our big spoon and we'll just stir it up here. And we're gonna let this cook for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, and we wanna make it sure it's nice and fragrant. So once that gets cooking, what we'll do is we wanna start adding some of our additional ingredients. So we're gonna use some chicken broth for our broth here. If you wanna make a vegetarian version, you can use veggie broth. But you're gonna have 4 cups of chicken broth, and that's basically an entire container. So we'll open this up, and then I'll just have you pour that all into the pan for me. Yep. All right, perfect. Okay, now to our broth. What we're going to add is a couple more ingredients. So we want to also add 3 cups of water. So we have our water pre-measured. Do you want to pour that in there with the broth for me? Perfect. And then we're going to add some mushrooms. So I really personally love mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms are really kind of the best to use in this type of recipe, but you can use any mushroom that you would like. And we have these pre-sliced, so we'll pour those in the pot with our other ingredients. And then we also want to add a tablespoon of soy sauce. So I'll measure this and then I'll have you pour it for me. All right. It's all right if it spills a little bit. Now that we have these ingredients, we're just gonna stir it here, and we wanna bring this to a boil before we add any additional ingredients. So we'll give this a few minutes and let it come to a boil. Okay, now we have our broth coming to a boil, so we're gonna add our additional final ingredients. So over here we have 1 carrot that is shredded, so if you wanna pour some of the carrot in there, you can actually pour all of it in. Yep, dump that in. And then we have some chives. So if you want to take maybe just a little bit and sprinkle them in there, we don't need to pour all of it in. And then the last thing before the noodles is we have some spinach. So if you want to pour all of the spinach in here, and this is a couple cups, and spinach, anytime you cook it, it'll get a lot smaller, so it might look like a lot at the beginning. So we'll pour that in, yep. And then we'll just stir this up a little bit. And then of course, last but not least, the final ingredient is our noodles. So we have udon noodles, but you can also use ramen noodles, really any noodle that you would like. Have you pour that in? And then we'll add our second packet. And these noodles, they cook up really fast. So once you add them in here and you get it to a simmer, it's only gonna take a few minutes for it to cook. So we're going to just break up the noodles a little bit with our spoon, and then we're going to bring this to a low boil. We're gonna let it simmer for a few minutes, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna try our ramen. So we have our ramen cooking, and I think our udon noodles are done, but we are going to get a nice big scoop in our bowl. So let me come over here. This is just smelling so good. Get a lot of noodles. Ooh, lots of noodles. And then I will scoop some for myself, and then we will give it a try. I need to get some noodles in mine. Ooh. Okay. So another thing that you can do to make your ramen look kind of extra fancy is you can take a hard or soft boiled egg and you can put it on the top for a garnish. So I'll put one on mine, that, and on yours. And it's pretty hot, but I think we can maybe take a little taste test. All right, so I'm gonna use a fork to eat mine, to get some of my noodles. Oh, those noodles are so good. That broth is so good. Again, I've never had ramen this fancy. This is really delicious. This would be a great thing to make really any time of year. You can make this in the fall, make this in the spring. It's colorful, it's healthy, it's delicious.